Jeffrey isn't masculine at all. He's broke. He's lazy, he procrastinates. He doesn't even have a job to support his family. He thinks he doesn't have to give back to them after everything they've done. Any money that he does get, he selfishly spends on video games, on the next Steam sale. You need all those games, Jeffrey. Adonis. Adonis understands that a core principle of masculinity is providing for his loved ones. And so Adonis works hard, especially when he doesn't feel like it, so that he can accumulate the resources, the power, the money and wealth to keep his family safe. I had a nightmare last night, and it was pretty fucking traumatic. You know how nightmares are, like, it feels real. Well, I'm asleep and I'm back in Liverpool. So Liverpool is a city in the UK where I used to live when I was a child. And there's chaos, racists. So what happened to my family in Liverpool? This is a true story. This isn't the nightmare. But what happened to my family in Liverpool? I was maybe 7, 8 years old. We were getting like attacked, like full on harassed by like this group of like racist youths. They were in my sister's high school. They bullied her, they attacked her, they threw like drinks over her. I remember she would come back crying some days with like, you know, like hair with like all Lucozade, like energy drinks, like they'd poured it onto her. Crying, my family, you know, my dad and my mom trying to figure out what to do. They'd go to the school, but you know, the teachers aren't doing anything there, so it was a whole fucky situation. I was very young, so I don't remember like the total details, but I remember seeing like flashes of this. And there was a point when like these guys had found out where we lived, because we didn't live far from the school, so they must have like seen us coming home. And from that moment, they attacked our house very, very often, like a couple times a week. Imagine 6 p.m. was when The Simpsons used to come on, you know, the TV, like a cartoon TV show, The Simpsons. It would be on at 6 p.m. every single day on like Sky TV. Like routine, you'd just hear like the same recognizable thud. Duk, 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 duk. And it was just eggs being thrown at the window, the front door and everything. I mentioned once that there was like one particular moment that really pissed me off. You know, we'd hear it, we'd check the door, like obviously after a while knowing that, yeah, they always like throw shit and then they run away. Open the door, call the police, and we'd be stood there. And one particular time as I like sort of leant on the At one particular time I leaned on the front door, as you know, we're calling the police or something. And there was eggs on it and it went all down the back of my t-shirt. And I remember getting like so angry at these guys, like, how can they do this? One time, like, you know, right now they're older than me, but one time when I'm older and they've got like family, and if I harassed them, like, it wouldn't be good for them, would it? You know, I was such an angry little kid at what was going on. And it was fully traumatic. And there was a time when, what the fuck are you supposed to do? And this was Liverpool in like early 2000s, and I've mentioned before, it was like a lot of people's perception of Liverpool as a city now, it's very positive, and it seems like it really is. Everyone I speak to from Liverpool is like a very loving person. Recently I've noticed that, but back then it was like a pretty racist place. There was a black guy, like kid, like 14, 15 years old, who was brutally murdered a mile away from our house, like very brutally murdered. I don't even want to tell you the details, but his name was Anthony Walker. You can maybe see like the news article if you want to just Google his name, and it'll ruin your day if you read the news article and you kind of visualize the story of what happened, because it's fucking traumatic to think about what happened to this guy. And he lived like a mile away from our house. He was brutally killed a mile, 2 miles away in a park. And this was literally like the time when we were getting racist attacks and stuff, and it's very scary, and I can't even imagine what my parents went through at this moment. So this was going on, and I remember it was a blur at the moment when my dad got so fed up that I remember this is when he started drinking, and there was a moment when he just camped out in the car. Like, he parked the car like across the street and literally stayed like hidden underneath there with a baseball bat, waiting for the guys to come, you know, to like ambush them. And I remember like this was when he really like started drinking. He must have been like very stressed, and I remember he was working like 2 jobs at the time, and I didn't, you know, as a kid you don't know what for, so you know, he was gone all day and everything. He would come back from her work and then go to a different job, and I didn't, you know, he's my dad, he's going to work, not knowing what was going on, but he was literally working extra jobs to like save up money so we could like leave as fast as possible. One time it's fucking chaotic. My dad's like chased down, one of our neighbors pulled up, so they threw bricks and everything. This time they threw fucking bricks through the window, and it literally, and this is relevant for the nightmare, they threw bricks through the window, shattered the window. My brother's there, my dad's there, they're covered in glass and shit. Our neighbor pulls up in his car and he says like, come on, get in, we're gonna chase these guys down. My dad gets into the car, they're gone for a while, then eventually my dad just walks back and he's got like a white ute. It was like a white, probably 16, 17 years old. For a long time, bro, because of this, bro, I was I wasn't exactly racist towards white people, but I had a lot of anxiety towards like white like youths, especially like around drinking culture, because that's when they're always like way more racist. Racism in the UK has very, very much declined, but for a very long time it was high, even in different cities. Even like I've been through a lot of racist shit, bro. My family have been through a lot. And but he comes back with this guy, this 16, 17-year-old, and he's got a busted up nose that my dad's literally bringing back by like the fucking neck. And so the story was that my dad fucking hit him hard, and like, well done, bro. Anyone who sat here, but he's a shut the fuck up, bro. This little kid deserved little kid. He's a fucking youth at this point. He's like a grown ass fucking, I don't know, man. But yeah, I think the 16, 17-year-old, whatever he was, deserved it. You can say, oh, well, he deserves it. I don't give a fuck, okay? But yeah, comes home, he's got this broken thing. My dad's like holding him hostage pretty much, and then it's fucking chaotic. All of his friends come, they're shouting, screaming, and all of our neighbors walk out of the house. It's like literally the most chaos that's ever happened. Calling the police, waiting for them, waiting. Where the fuck are they? We need some fucking help. We literally see the police van like just drive past and not even fucking stop. Then out of nowhere, this car pulls up with aggression, almost hits a few people. Woman jumps out of it, like climbs through our front garden, punches my dad in the face, takes a son, and everything's shouting. The police come. Everything's like fucking like a blur in my mind, but from my understanding and recollection of this, the woman who punched my dad got arrested for like weeks. So that's as much as I really remember. Now, the nightmare that I had last night was essentially the same thing happening, but with this huge sense of fear that I'm in the top floor, like in my parents' room. I look out of the curtains, the motorbikes pulled up, and my dream was kind of like extreme, like exaggerated. The racists are outside, but they've got like fucking plasma guns or some shit, and they shoot like a huge ray of like light or something like that, like through the front window. The front window bursts, and my dad's got glass over his, which is like what happened, but just without the plasma guns. I come downstairs, my dad's trying to be, this is the nightmare, so obviously this isn't like real, but it kind of did happen, you get what I mean? It was just wasn't as extreme. My dad's got like glass all covered his face. He's trying to act like really calm, and he's asking me for help to like, to get out of his eyes or some shit. And this is when I wake up, and I wake up with such fucking anxiety and my heart beating fast. And the first thing that I wrote down on this script, like as the title of this video, because I knew I was going to record this video, you need to make money to protect your family. Me and my family are traumatized from this entire like months long situation. I woke up and the first thing that came into my mind was that, bro, if we had 10 to 20,000 pounds, we would have avoided the entire situation. This is, the early 2000s, 10, 20,000 pounds, I assume, would have been enough for like a deposit, or at least like months, a year-long rent somewhere safe. We didn't have that. My dad had to work 2 jobs, and even then it was a slow process to be able to afford a new house. So all of this shit's going down. I remember it taking it months. They were trying to find a new house, and I wasn't even allowed to tell anyone, like all my friends, I wasn't even allowed to tell them where I was going to. That's the first thing I thought about, was the power of money and how that can be used to keep your family safe. Things are very different. This is kind of cringe, but I was on Instagram yesterday, and like there's Instagram reels, which are kind of like motivational quotes and everything. And there was one of this kind of motivational speaker who says like, okay, you can try and become like the one of your family, the one that changes it all, of the entire bloodline. You are the one that like, skyrockets the family to success. I found like, sound like a little bit of an asshole, like, proper like arrogant. I feel like I'm the one. I feel like I'm the one who's like drastically increased our family success. I have right now more than enough money for a private jet flight, literally a single, not like an actual private jet, but like a single flight. A flight of a private jet costs, I believe, around 50,000. I just woke up, and that was one of the first things that went into my mind was, if there was total chaos here in Thailand, or my sister is traveling right now, she's on holiday where she is, I could actually arrange that. I actually have like somewhat of like contacts who could actually maybe arrange that for me, and I'd pay like 50,000 pounds. Obviously that's fucking crazy, but like, and it would drain my bank account. I'm not like rich or anything right now. It would drain my bank account and my savings and everything, but like I would have enough. That's a pretty good level of power to have. And the truth is, this video seems quite weird. Why are we talking about this, bro? 99.9% of men will never think about things like this ever. The furthest they will think about is getting a £300 promotion, $300 promotion to their like shitty career that they don't even like. Maybe we can save up $1,000 this year, honey. Small dick goals. Most men won't ever think about these pillars of masculinity, of like protecting their loved ones, any more than just like, oh yeah, well, I've got a safe job. Like, that's it. Big wealth should be your goal. For so long, I was against the idea of making money and accumulating wealth. I was so like fine with just being broke, being on government welfare. Not so much fine, but like I was never rushing it, or never had the sort of dream to make a good amount of money. But then I realized that there is a lot of like of power and value that comes from money. If you've watched a bunch of my videos, you know I'm not like a normal kind of materialistic person. I don't wear like expensive, this jewelry you see, this is $30. This watch, $30. Like I don't buy expensive shit. Inside there, I still have the same fucking trainers as I've had for the last 2 years. They've got a hole in them. I still wear the same trainers. I got a new pair as well, and I wear them, but I do like these old ones, even though there's like a hole in them. I'm not a materialistic person. And so when I talk about making more money, I'm not saying that for any level of like vanity or materialism. I'm talking about that in a sense of like safety, power, resources to protect and provide for your loved ones. This should be so like motivational, so inspirational for you to think, I am a man. This has been the goal of men through all of humanity. Men have wanted to accumulate resources to protect their loved ones. I think the pursuit of wealth is done wrong for the majority of people, and that's why it seems like a negative thing. Most people want to make more money so that they can spend more money. They want to make more money so that they can buy like flashy shit and expensive items. Once you've improved your mental health, you realize like, yeah, I don't need to. The cause of materialism of buying like fucking Gucci and all this expensive shit, the cause of that is just low mental health. And all these like little hype beast motherfuckers are going to complain. And no, it's not mental health. You just don't understand. Shut the fuck up. Yes, it is. It's poor mental health that causes someone to spend like thousands on something that doesn't even help them. If anything, it makes them even like less happy. But the pursuit of wealth in terms of the accumulation of power, of safety, of resources, that's a very, very good journey to be on. For a long time, I felt like guilty for this, and no longer. This doesn't mean, oh, well, I'm going to become a sellout or any bullshit. I'm not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends or any shit like that. I'm not just going to suddenly start selling you shit. But it is in my mind to think like, yeah, there is a lot of value to be able to accumulate, to increase your income, to stack investments, to have like an emergency fund. I am in a very powerful position right now. I have like a lot of money, more money than I've ever had before. I think more money than maybe anyone in my entire bloodline has ever had at one point. Maybe, you know, there's some like really rich people, sheikhs, or I don't know, some like rich people in my ancestry, but the amount of money I literally just have stacked up in like investments and bank accounts and stuff, the income that's coming in from this broad movement, this business in front of you, and it gives me this great level of power. And almost this, like, I don't know how you'd explain it, like this level where I feel like I can sit back and watch the world unfold from a position of almost authority and safety. So I want you to ask yourself right now, can you do that? Be totally honest. Do you have enough in your bank accounts that if everything stopped, your ability to make money stopped, your family's ability to make money stopped, would you guys be okay for 3 months? Because if the answer is no, you have work to do. You should, like, this is what masculine men do, bro. You know, the modern sort of feminine way to live is like, oh, you know, it doesn't matter. Like this soft way that most young men are living, like, oh, well, I don't need more money and I'll just play 1 hour of video games a day and I'll watch some anime. Shut the fuck up. If you answered no to that question, that you couldn't support your family for maybe even a month, you have work to do. Masculine men through all of mankind from the caveman ages would have visualized the negative consequences of their lack of resources for their family, of the thing that could go wrong. Now, of course, visualize positive, visualize success, visualize growth, but sometimes you need to almost foresee failure. You need to like foresee the thing that you're scared of to like throw you into action, to almost feel a little bit scared and think like, oh fuck, imagine if war broke out in your country right now. Imagine if resources started getting scarce, because these things, I know they seem like silly to think about, especially if you're in a Western country, but they are the reality for a bunch of countries right now. Hard times are coming, and in the hard times, you better hope that you've become a strong man from the last like months and years of self-improvement. And a big pillar of self-improvement is your work and the accumulation of wealth. Do you have at least a few thousand stacked up in a bank account? Be totally honest, do you have a few thousand stacked up in a bank account that like if shit just went down, you could just suddenly buy a plane ticket, that you could buy enough food to last a couple of months? That if your parents lost their jobs, you would be able to like give them enough money to support the house for 2-3 months. If the answer is yes, fantastic, keep growing. But if the answer is no, bro, I'm gonna be one of the first people to say this. You should feel like shit. You should feel bad. Everyone is too soft, too feminine in this modern day, and they'll say like, just rely on the God, it'll be okay. All this fucking pussy shit. You should feel bad. You should feel anxious. You should feel like a failure, like a letdown, like you're taken away from your family, like they have gave so much to you and you're not returning the favor. You should feel negative. That is the way of man. That is like the masculine energy inside of you, and that energy inside of you is being throttled by modern like feminine narratives that it's okay to be weak and you don't need to chase money. Chasing money is for bad people. I believe that for so long. As long as you are not chasing money for the wrong reason, march onwards. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.